What is going on, people? Welcome back to the Pole Position Pod. Suzuka Grand Prix, the Japanese Grand Prix preview has arrived. This will be the second last show of Formula One, second last preview show or race weekend show for a month and a half because we ain't got racing till May. We ain't got racing till May. That's it. That's just what it is. But hopefully everything's all good though, people. Make sure you guys first and foremost slap the likes, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Where if you're new around here, we are 26 subscribers away to 600, guys. We're getting ever so closer to 600. I'd say, Agustia, in general this week, just this week in general, probably in terms of like views, in terms of like just how the channel's been progressing. I'd say this has been the best week. But Augusti was here last night for the Wild Sports Talk. If you haven't done so already, check that one out. It was a great talk. We discussed mostly football and a bit of NBA as well. We say Formula One for this show because obviously we have to do the Suzuka Grand Prix, and we're here. We're doing the Grand Prix preview this week for the Japanese Grand Prix. Big up Augustia. Thank you for joining, bro. And also turn your notification bell so you don't miss upload, you don't miss it live, and you don't miss all the content and notifications, all the posts and everything, etc. Big up, my guy. Hope you're doing good.
Yeah, big up everyone. Nice to be back. It's less than 10 hours since we last dispersed from the legendary sports talk show, as Ekman talked about. Very interactive, very engaging chat. Big up everyone. Yeah, qualifying. Interesting qualifying. 1 month, 1.5 months, Ekman. When you said that, my heart sunk. I was like, wow, my goodness. We're going to be void of Formula One. We were void of it for so long, for 3 months. Now we're going to have a longer break than the season break even, which is a shame and a tragedy. But of course, we understand it given the global tensions and chaos, conflicts, and casualties happening in the Middle East. So absolutely necessary. While it's awful, it is, of course, vital for the safety of the sport and society as well. But this qualifying, again, top of the grid. Did we expect anything less? For the 4th consecutive qualifying session this season, Mercedes, the Silver Arrows, front row lockout. And yes, surprising to some, not to myself, as usual, not just a predictor, but a prophet, a spoiler. Kevin, you can vouch for this. I did predict Kimi Antonelli to finish on pole, which was a very satisfying result. And if Kimi wins this weekend, he may, if I'm not mistaken, he will be very close, if not surpass George Russell, heading into the longest season break in recent history. So that is something to say. And then when you talk about the best of the rest, because we know top 2 is basically your front row lockout, a foregone conclusion. 3rd place is really who wins the race, right? Because every week, is it going to be Charles? Is it going to be Lewis? Which Ferrari driver will finish 3rd? Well, that script has been completely spoiled because McLaren, Andrea Stella, they have finally tweaked the chassis a bit more. They've understood the game far better, and they are emerging to be probably the second best team given the trajectory they're trending on, with Oscar Piastri finishing in 3rd place above both Ferrari cars, with Lando Norris sandwiched in between Charlie Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, who has had a nightmare of a weekend, to say the least, given the last 2 weeks where Hamilton has felt so comfortable, so competent, conquering the track and the car. This week, it's slightly shades of last year. We'll hope it's an outlier. And then apart from that, rest of the pack, we can't forget about Red Bull. Red Bull. The Red's in their name for a reason, because it was a beyond disastrous weekend for them. Max Verstappen not making it into Q3 for the first time since 2019. Max Verstappen has finished on pole every single year at Suzuka since the last decade. Since the first Trump administration, since before COVID, since before Messi won a World Cup. I mean, you listed. Since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was in charge of Manchester United, Max Verstappen had always finished on pole at Suzuka. But today, not even pole. Not even 10th outside of it. And he didn't just lose, he lost to his teammate Isaac Hadjar, which would be so foreign, so otherworldly, so outerworldly for anybody to say that last year, to lose out to his teammate. But not even that, as Ekevin, you pointed out, he also lost to Arvin Lindblad, the rookie, the only rookie on the grid in his first ever season, in the sister car, in the significantly inferior car, in another team going through turmoil as well. So Max Verstappen, the invincible guy, not acclimated for whatever reason, not acclimated with the car. The car isn't adjusting to him. It is a nightmare on steroids for Max Emilian Verstappen down in Suzuka, the track that he has embroiled himself in so much success.
Facts, man. Honestly, you're spot on. Because don't forget, I just mentioned they just finished behind the sister car as well. They finished behind Racing Bulls, and they made a huge mistake by not being prepared this weekend again. I think Verstappen is still complaining about his car nonstop. It's been nonstop complaining for the last two race weeks. This week is the same. Nothing has changed. I don't know what's happened to Red Bull. All of a sudden they're falling down the pecking order this season so far. Are they not adapting to the regulations well? Are they not adapting to the climax for this weekend? I don't know. I don't know what's going on because Isaac Hadjar, he finished behind his teammate. Sorry, Max Verstappen finished behind his teammate, Isaac Hadjar. And Arvid Lindblad. In the Racing Bulls, the sister car of Red Bull, excuse me. And yeah, man, it's just been a tough week for them. I don't know what happened. I need a bit more clarification on what exactly happened. But from what I saw, it looked like the car didn't have any pace. It looked like they didn't have any pace. It just looked like they struggled to get time. I don't know. They struggled to keep track with time, or not track with time, but you know what I'm trying to say. They struggled with the pace down the final sector, and that was their downfall. Verstappen just was not faster than the McLarens. Sweet McLarens have surprised me. I thought McLaren, yes, I know they're current champions, but based off of what I expected them to do this season, I did think they'd be in the top two. But McLaren are actually having a decent-ish start to the season. Now, this is where they pounce. This is where they properly get within reach of the top two cars. Because you see Red Bull's struggles. You see the rest of the pack. Take advantage of that. I think McLaren will definitely take advantage of that this weekend. I think Ferrari, I don't know what's going on with them. Obviously, Lewis Hamilton, he had a bit of an issue in free practice, third free practice. I think his car slipped out. He just wasn't able to control his car. It looked like the patience was not there. Charles Leclerc, bro. Oh man,
that oversteer, man.
Oversteering and constant just falling off the track. I think he went off track twice, or almost went off track twice. He went onto the side of the track. His car went on the red and white part of the track, and that's where it fell apart because he lost track of time. He lost a bit of time. He lost like 0.4 seconds, and I don't know how many seconds he was away from catching Kimi Antonelli, which would have been the race, which could have been the starting on pole for Charles Leclerc. I don't know how far he was from it, but listen, hey,
Charles Leclerc had the fastest first sector. In the second sector, if everything had gone according to plan, he would have been entering the third sector as the fastest car. But that snap of oversteer lost him around 5/10. He finished behind Kimi Antonelli by 6/10. So it would have been very close, Ekman. It would have been a Charles Leclerc, Kimi Antonelli 1 and 2 in the other order. So it's a shame for Leclerc because on another day, he would have been in contention for that pole position at the bare minimum. But it just looks like Ferrari still, they lack that power unit place, and they are struggling with the chassis more. Both Leclerc and Hamilton finding it very hard to drive that car. As you talked about, Ekman here, it's moving off the track. They are really pushing the car to the limits because the limits that the car has already are just very, very confining and constraining.
Yeah, man, for sure. Mercedes will win it again. I expected that they'll win it for sure. This weekend, they still have the fastest car. There's no reason for them not to be, not to win again this weekend. They're quite far ahead of the rest. I don't see anyone stopping Mercedes unless, something happens tomorrow, like they have a mechanical failure or engine failure. Then maybe, yeah. But as things stand right now, I don't know, man. It's gonna be a Mercedes 1 and 2 finish again, most likely. But yeah, man. The rest of the pack, though, I think the team that can really make the toughest or the most competition or try and catch them a little bit is probably Ferrari or McLaren, one of them two this weekend. Ferrari have shown the competition in the last few weeks, but yet they didn't have the pace in the final laps. They just weren't able to clutch up like Mercedes was, because Mercedes had the pack to finish the race. They had the pack. They had the battery. They had everything. They had the whole set. The only thing with Ferrari is they don't have the whole set. Strategically, they're doing fine. The only problem is it's the pace compared to Mercedes, and I don't think they have the pace down the straight. However, in the Japanese Grand Prix, I'm expecting a bit of a better performance from Ferrari. However, it will not be the most. It won't be the best performance. It'll just be a decent-ish performance. I think Charles Leclerc has a good chance of definitely getting to the podium. He did almost finish in the podium. He did almost get pole. He was a few tenths away, or he was a few seconds away. I don't know how far he was, but and then you'll have to bring out the graphic from that time. But yeah, man, I just think the only team that can really put up a fight this weekend is probably McLaren or Ferrari. It's gonna be Mercedes 1 and 2 again. That's all I'm gonna say about it. But yeah, the biggest headline was Verstappen finishing off Q3. The next one is, was it Checo Perez? Something about Checo Perez. I heard Crofty was saying something about Checo Perez. I don't remember.
Well, he finished above Valtteri Bottas for the first time in a couple races. He finished above his teammate at Suzuka for the first time since 2018. So Checo Perez is whatever. I don't know how significant you would consider that to be, but Checo Perez definitely looks comfortable. And Valtteri Bottas, they both look comfortable, which is the problem is the Cadillac pace just doesn't exist. They are new to Formula One. They are virgins of the grid, and they are still finding their feet at the moment.
Stay tuned towards the end. We'll give a preview. We'll give a preview towards the end. Our predictions.
We'd love to know your predictions here, though.
Yeah, man. Let us know your predictions, though. Bring up to you, my guy. Sorry, I guess to continue.
Yeah. So with the rest of the grid, the one that I want to talk, we've talked about Max, we've talked about Ferrari, we've talked about Mercedes, we've talked about McLaren's ascendancy. The one I want to talk about is Ollie Behrman. Such a shame, man. Such a shame. I missed a bit of Q1 as well, but for him to go out in Q1, given that he has been easily the best of the rest, right? Mercedes have been 1 and 2, Ferrari have been 3 and 4. Ollie Behrman, on pure merit alone, has been far better this season than Max Verstappen, far better than Lando Norris, comfortably by some distance. So for him to be in Q1 is a major disappointment. I think it was a conflict of scheduling, conflict of tire management as well, not fully on the driver, also the team. He crossed the line right after the checkered flag had come. So that is super, super disappointing for Ollie Behrman. But watch out for him. I think the two drivers to watch out for tomorrow would be him and Max Verstappen. How many gains can they make? Because Ollie Behrman, to me, has been probably, if you were providing like match ratings for each driver, Ollie Behrman would have probably the highest rating this season, given how much he has outperformed and overpowered the productivity of that car. So kudos to Ollie Behrman. Shame for today, but he can come back tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, man. Ollie Behrman is one of those drivers that you just didn't think that they would. He wasn't gonna be within a shout for top 8, but he started off the season very, very well. The Haas, I think, what was it? Him and what's his teammate again? Was it Esteban Ocon? Yeah, they're having a really good season so far, Haas. I mean, for their standards, for their pace. So hopefully Ollie Behrman can continue that good streak of getting into the points, and then just long may continue. Yeah, man, Behrman's definitely up here with the Haas. I feel that George has the experience. He'll definitely win Suzuka. I don't know I don't know he'll win, but obviously he's within a shout. But that I don't hope that doesn't give away the spoiler for the prediction.
I think it hints who you're going to go with among the two Mercedes drivers, but we'll see.
I'm sad. I'm a Max Verstappen fan. Hey, listen, don't worry about it, mate. Don't worry about it. Max has a whole month and a half to decide if he wants to continue Formula One or not. No, I'm kidding. He'll be back, but hopefully it'll be much more competitive. Come after the break, because I think this is going to be the longest break we have this season. I don't think the summer will be even this long.
Hey,
Obviously, race get cancelled, but yeah.
look, we did, of course, Max Verstappen. We have total respect for. He is, in my opinion, the best driver that's ever graced the Formula One grid in terms of pure ability. He has been the man, but he must be looking at the decision right now. We talk about Lewis Hamilton regretting joining Ferrari. I don't think he will because his objectives were about fulfilling it in red. Greatest team versus the greatest driver of all time coming together. But Max Verstappen last season in Imola, when him and Toto Wolff met during the F1 off season, they met to talk about whether Max can join Mercedes. Mercedes were willing to pay the $100 million release cost to free Max Verstappen from the shackles of Red Bull, but Max wanted to stay at Red Bull, which is admirable, which is super loyal. But I think right now, looking at the situation, there must be a part of him that is like, what if? Because on another day, Kimi Antonelli was going to Alpine, and also Max Verstappen was coming to Mercedes to partner up with George Russell. And now Kimi Antonelli looks like he could, of course, it's early days, but he could be blossoming into an early contender. Because if he wins this weekend, he's at least near George Russell, if not overtaken him. And he definitely this weekend on the balance of play in terms of mentality, in terms of ability, Kimi Antonelli does look like he is the most confident of the two drivers. And that is, of course, a cause for concern if you are George Russell. Nice to have a teammate that can push you, though. And for Max Verstappen, would Toto Wolff replace both drivers? You know, the apple of his eye, Kimi Antonelli and George Russell. For Max Verstappen, maybe for Niki Lauda, maybe for Toto Wolff, but why would he get rid of both drivers when they're maximizing their output? So, yeah, and that's a good point. He has won a championship at Suzuka. Big up to Fosi, big up Bossa Blue, Lightning McQueen,
Big up, guys. Hope you guys are all doing good. Max has won F1 championship in Suzuka. Did he? Did he win the championship in Suzuka?
Yeah, because wasn't Suzuka after the pandemic? Wasn't it second half of the season?
Second half of the season, yeah.
Wasn't it? So, I think.
Are we ever going to see again championship like 2025, 2020, 2016, 2007, 2008?
So, I like the profile change to Fosi. I think it's necessary. Changing from Max Verstappen to Lewis Hamilton. Sorry, go on.
No. You go ahead.
I didn't interrupt you. I was just going to say, are we going to see a championship like that? Yeah, for sure, 100%. I mean, given the state of the season and how close these cars are, you might even have it this season with the Mercedes. But I get what you mean. You mean two drivers from the same team.
But this season, how close it is?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. You can't rule it off. Of course, Russell is the favorite given the experience, given the maturity, given the reliability. But at the current rate, Kimi Antonelli is raging himself into a very rich vein of form. And he is a generational talent like a Max and a Lewis. We've always said this. So you never know here. It just takes, a couple race wins to relieve all the pressure and find that form that can give you the fire to win a championship. No, it will not. He should not do that. I'm sorry. He should not go to Ferrari, Max Verstappen.
No, I agree. He probably won't go to Ferrari. He's definitely not going to go to Ferrari, man, for sure. I don't see him doing that anymore. I would a couple of years ago, but now I'm thinking maybe not anymore. But I don't see it being close, and I'll tell you why. Because I just think maybe the experience of Kimi might play a part. I know he has pace. I know his car has the durability, but who's the better driver at the end of the day? It's George Russell, right?
Of course, but I don't know. On pure talent, I think Kimi Antonelli will end up as a better driver, 100%. I'm very confident.
I don't see it being close. I don't think it'll be close.
Look, I'm not predicting that either. I'm still sticking with George Russell.
Sorry. No.
No, I said that. I said George Russell would win the championship at the beginning of the year. That's what I said, and I will stick to that. I said that last year as well. But I'm just saying, given Kimi Antonelli's resurgence or surgeons, you never know. And I agree with both of you. He will make mistakes. That's why George Russell will win. But he is a generational talent. So if there are a few drivers on the grid I can pick that just, when they reach their peak form or close to it, they only consolidate and level up from it. Kimi Antonelli would be one of those guys. I wouldn't put Russell. I wouldn't put Lando Norris. I wouldn't put Charles Leclerc in that category. I would put Kimi Antonelli above them. He is a generational talent. He has been mentored by the best people in Formula One history. Toto Wolff, seeding by Niki Lauda, of course. Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Bono. I mean, he is in such a Yeah, productive and prosperous state.
The rookies who joined in 2019 are respectfully shit. I don't know which rookies you're talking about, but some of them, yes, they're not very, very good. From India. I live
I hope
in.
he's calling you. I hope he's calling you Baji, not me.
Yeah, he is. Of course, of course.
I'm joking.
I live in. What is that? I don't say it.
You know what that reminds me? I live in. There is a Gautam Buddha F1 circuit in the city that is
No,
so
no, no.
cool here.
The city name. No, is it Noida?
I think that's correct. Yeah, we don't want to butcher it here, but it's Noida probably.
No,
It's amazing.
Give me some steaks. He's
I was
raw.
gonna
Yeah,
say, you know what that reminded me of. I don't think you remember this, but it was too funny. Do you remember? Do you remember Bujwinder Singh? Do you
yeah,
remember him on Twitter? That's what that
yeah,
reminded me of right there because that comment was so similar to that. The troll on Twitter.
yeah.
So,
I remember that.
so that's too funny.
That was funny. That was funny.
He came after
You
me. He
had
came after you.
Yeah, I remember that. And he started DMing, not DMing, but he started tweeting us. Like, you remember that? He started tweeting us on Twitter as well.
No, he came after you mainly. He came after me. He came after Raf as well. So
Yeah.
it's someone we know for sure. Has to be.
Oh yeah. But anyways, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that one. But I don't think it'll be close. I think some of the drivers will join in the championship. I don't think it'll be as close between the top two drivers in the top two cars. I think some of the drivers will join in. I think you can't knock off Lewis Hamilton. He can definitely put a fight this season with the Ferrari car much improved. Who else do I think can be in the hunt for the championship this year? I'll put Hamilton in there for now. I don't know who else. I don't know who else. I don't think Max will be in the championship this year, unfortunately. I mean, you never know. Max second half resurgence can definitely play a part, but I don't see it.
Put it this way: if they have the car, like forget about the situation today. If they have the car, Russell, Leclerc, Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Antonelli, those guys can win the championship. Hadjar, we still don't know yet. But then the current situation today, Russell would be S tier favorite, Antonelli would be A tier favorite, Leclerc would be B tier favorite. Hamilton, Piastri, Norris, Verstappen would all be C tier favorite. Verstappen because he can overcome a deficit. We've seen it, but that Red Bull car seems so far behind that even last year they would dream to be in the position they were in last year, and that's saying something here. McLaren's they can do it, but head to head, I think that Antonelli and Russell may even have the edge over the McLaren drivers. So, and Hamilton just they're going to be tracks like today where he just doesn't find the rhythm. He will not have that overall durability, but he can do it. He's the greatest driver ever. You never know.
The only problem is for me, like, of course, Lewis Hamilton will definitely be it, but I think the only thing with Kimi is the inexperience will be on his side. Sorry, the inexperience will be on his side. The inexperience will catch up to him because has he ever dealt with the pressure of having to compete for a championship before in a real Formula One car? No,
but
this will be the first time he's doing.
But at the same time. Tough. At the same time, Lewis Hamilton, when did he win the championship? In his second season. Hamilton and Antonelli have a very similar background.
But
also,
I don't see it like that. I think it's different mentality.
100%. But at the same time, they've come from the same setup. They both have generational talent. They have the similar people around them as well. And also, if it is just a Mercedes fight, if of course McLaren, Ferrari, Verstappen are involved, then probably not. But after the end of last season, Kimi Antonelli was on better form than George Russell. And after he got his first win in China, he looks so much more relaxed. This week, we can't blame the setup for George Russell. Kimi Antonelli just looked faster than him. He looked much more confident than him on pure pace. He was the only driver to catch in the 128s as well. So, yeah, again, I'm not saying Kimi Antonelli will win the championship, but I'm saying do not write him off because, again, it's a two-way fight, and a two-way fight could go either way.
You're not wrong with the same setup, but Hamilton won it with the McLaren car, right? Not McLaren car, but he won it with the he won a championship in a McLaren car, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Well, in a Ferrari car, but yeah.
In the Ferrari engine car.
No, I'm just taking the piss. It's a joke. There was a Spygate joke on how McLaren copied a Ferrari. But no, I'm just taking the piss. He did win in the McLaren car, yes, in 2008.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think we can see great comebacks these cars because mostly on the car and not the driver. I hear you, because yeah, you're right. 50% battery power. That is true. It depends on the battery power. That's the one thing. Because if Kimi can, okay, fine. Do you know what? I'll rephrase what I'll say. Yes, Kimi can win the championship because of his car, because of the battery power that he has. But at the same time, if there are changes being made, let's say drivers hold a meeting with Formula One or FIA, excuse me, and they want to make sure that they want to adjust a bit of the regulations, they want to adjust a bit of the rules, and things change. Will that depend on Kimi himself now? Well, if it has to go down to the driver instead of the engine, because sometimes the drivers have to control how the engine goes as well, right? Sometimes the driver has to control that. He has to make sure that he has good control of his battery pack, because you know how fast battery pack drains in Formula One this season. You've seen it. The battery pack is drained quite fast this year in a lot of cars. It's about conserving it. And can Kimi, in the second half of the season, conserve his battery pack and take it over the line? That's the only question I'll ask from now, because it's early doors. We don't know for sure how it'll be within 7 races to go. When there's 7 races to go, we don't know how it'll be, right? We don't know how close it'll be. We don't know if the battery pack will still be an issue, or it'll be something that will keep Mercedes over the line. I don't know. I can't say that for sure. I ask questions about that, but then again, they probably will. They probably will. I'm just mixed. I don't know what to say. I'm just mixed, man. I'm really like, really unsure, because what if Ferrari have a resurgence? What if McLaren just all of a sudden say, you know what, we're current champions, we're gonna go gun ho now. We're gonna go all out and just fix this car completely and go out for it. You know? So I'm not trying to say it's over. I'm not trying to say Kimi can't do it. Of course Kimi can, but then what if there's more drivers in the race? How much pressure will Kimi feel? Having to go up against like a Lewis Hamilton, like having to go up against for example, a Lando Norris, who's a current champion. You know? So what I mean, I know he did it last year. He's had some few good races last year. This year he's won his first race. Can he win the second race tomorrow? We'll see. We will see. But it all depends on the control of the battery and and the fuel. Can they do that? We'll see. Because he's still a young driver. He's never been in a championship hunt before. Different backgrounds to Lewis Hamilton. Different backgrounds, different personality, different profile, different mentality. Lewis Hamilton was one of a kind. You're never going to see one of that ever again. You know, obviously you do have Verstappen, who's close, but he's probably not going to win as many championships as Lewis Hamilton, is he? Depending on him in the next few years, what does he do with his career? So this is what I mean. Experience it also plays a part. But can Kimi separate the status quo? I don't know. I'll use your words here.
Yeah,
I don't know if he can, because lack of experience might play a huge part. You know. But listen, I'm not trying to say I'm writing Kimi off. I just don't know if he will be able to. I'm just questioning it.
Sure. Sure.
Because we're still early days, so go on.
Yeah, so I was gonna say GK. Very good point here about Max and how Max's talent missing podiums here. Making a good point here, but I think the difference is Max didn't have the car. He had a very fast car, but he did not have the car. And Kimi Antonelli has a rocket ship. So does George Russell. And if that is going to continue, then logically speaking, George Russell versus Kimi Antonelli head to head. Yes, George Russell has more experience. But Ekman, let me ask you: does George Russell have any title-winning experience? We're talking about Kimi Antonelli's void of experience. George Russell doesn't have any experience with this pressure.
He's been in the game longer.
Yeah, he's been in the game longer, but being in the game versus being the game itself, there is a big difference in that sense. And also Lewis Hamilton. Like Lewis Hamilton 2007, he came into Formula One. He was a generational talent, but he was not expected to compete against Kimi Raikkonen and also Kimi namesake, Kimi Raikkonen and Fernando Alonso. his teammate. But because all the pressure was on the other guys, and of course Spygate, there were certain circumstances as well, you capitalize on it. Right, heading into the season, everybody and their dog would have thought that George Russell would win this championship by a country mile. All the pressure is on George Russell. And I believe that as well, by the way, that George Russell will win this championship. But I'm just saying the game of experience, of course, there will be times when adversity comes to Kimi Antonelli. But once Kimi Antonelli, like a Lewis Hamilton, like a Max Verstappen, once they find their footing, which Kimi Antonelli had made so many mistakes the first half of last season, all of us doubted whether he should be in Formula One, whether he should go to a sister team, whether he should go to a B team, for instance. But he's okay. He survived that second half of the season, especially the Brazil race, where he defended Max Verstappen and costed him the championship, effectively. I think that Kimi Antonelli this season, if his feet are on the ground, he will make a lot less mistakes. On pure pace, he can go toe-to-toe, if not prevail, in most circuits. And George Russell doesn't have the experience of a championship either. So I'm just saying, for Russell, it's more difficult than we make it out to be. It is not a sure shot loop, because you have a teammate that is arguably better than Valtteri Bottas, better than Sergio Perez, also better than Leclerc and Sainz would be in this situation as well.
But the only thing is with George Russell is he's won more races. He knows he's experienced in race wins, even with a worse car than what he has right now.
Yeah, but look at Oscar Piastri last year.
Kimi's only won in a car that's been, upgraded to a rocket ship, like you said.
But the same for Lando and Oscar, right? Lando and Oscar weren't winning races until they had the fastest car.
Who ended up winning in the end?
Absolutely, but if you look at the beginning, like even just so far today, I guess my claim is don't discount Kimi Antonelli. I know you're not doing that, but I'm just saying for the chat especially and everyone watching. The reason Oscar Piastri had such a dominant start was because he could hold serve, but B, Lando Norris was making the biggest rookie mistakes. George Russell this weekend didn't make mistakes. He didn't make a mistake last weekend in the Beijing Grand Prix. Yes, qualifying was a mess, but he isn't making mistakes. Kimi Antonelli is still winning. Kimi Antonelli, even though he makes mistakes, even though he has limited runs, he is still in contention for race victories. I guess that's my point. My point is he is beating him on merit. He's not beating him with a failing Lando Norris. He is not capitalizing on something. He is following through on pure merit. So I'm just saying, Kimi Antonelli, of course, will make mistakes. He's a rookie. But he absolutely has the talent to win in his second season. Come back to this.
No, he definitely has a chance to win, but do I think he will win is a different question. I don't know. I'm still saying I don't know because, like I said, it depends on how the state of the car, come the last few races of the year. I always say this. It depends on the last few races of the year. It's early doors at the moment. We don't know how it'll be after the break. We don't know if Mercedes will come back firing after the break. They probably will. But it's always a question mark if, because what if Ferrari make an upgrade? What if McLaren make a huge upgrade? What if Verstappen fixes his issues? Stuff like that can change. They can change in a fortnight. They could change right away, and so that's what I mean. I'm not gonna write Kimi off, but it depends on the situation with everyone. How in the last 7 races to go. Yeah, I reckon the McLaren car picks up pace throughout the season. I think there's a chance. I think they're slowly picking it up now. Actually, if you look at it now, they're picking it up now. You can see today that they were a lot faster than usual. They were a lot faster than the last 2 races. I think they'll definitely pick it up throughout the season for sure, 100%. I can definitely see it. Yeah,
can I jump in on this real quick?
Yeah, of course. Let me ask. Is it a case that Mercedes are faster in straight lines and lose time in the corners? Probably, because you saw Ferrari in the corners. They overtook Mercedes in the corners. They're so much better in the corners because it's easy to overtake this year in the corners because of how thin the car is, right? You know what I'm trying to say? It's much thinner this year than last year. So I think it'll be. So yeah, you're right. It's definitely in the corners rather than on the straights, for sure, 100%. But you go on, I guess. You want to answer your question?
Yeah, Look, first of all, McLaren will 100% pick up pace because they are also benefiting from the Mercedes engine compression loophole. So they will overtake Ferrari in due course. I would say it's imminent. I wouldn't say it's likely. I would say it's going to happen. Secondly, when it comes to the aero integration, when it comes to the chassis package, we know McLaren went a different route compared to Mercedes, compared to Ferrari, compared to Red Bull. That's why at the beginning of the season, they were comfortably the 4th best team. But as Andrea Stella said today, they are finally understanding it. They are reading the room. They are recognizing how to manage energy deployment alongside the needs of their very distinctive car. And with the trajectory that they're going on, they are bringing proportionate upgrades to the Grand Prix. I compared them to Arsenal on the sports talk show. I will apologize. I will withdraw because that wasn't a comparison that made sense. Instead, McLaren as a team, like Red Bull, I would say are two of the best technically deciding teams. And in due course, I would expect McLaren to come back to the top because they have the people. Obviously, guys like Pierre Wache, they've taken people from Red Bull. They have championship winning experience back to back years. They can build a rocket ship car without necessarily having to rely on the loophole as well. So, yes, Mercedes are the best team on the grid, right? Because they know how to win. They're winners, and their marketing, their packaging, their performance, their drivers, everything about Mercedes. It's like PSG on steroids. But McLaren, yeah, man. The reason I made the comparison was yesterday on the show we talked about Arteta. We talked about if he gets whether he should, like, next season. Let's say they win the league this year. Do you sack Arteta next year? And I was like, you can't do that because they won the league. But if Chelsea, City, and Liverpool are at their peak, Arteta will comfortably be fourth. So I was putting the same comparison in for McLaren. I said that if Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes were at their peak, even though McLaren won the championship, you'd probably put them in fourth as well. But obviously, unlike Arteta, the reason I walked that back, they are actually innovative. They are actually proactive. They can read the room. They can accept accountability. And while their mentality, both Arsenal and McLaren, are not top tier, are not S tier, at least McLaren are aiming for victories. Look at Lando at the end of last season. So I think that, they will. McLaren, give them credit because what they've done this weekend, it is not an exception. It is simply a byproduct of their remarkable execution to come back. And they are the second best team on the grid this weekend alongside Ferrari.
I hate Ineos, man. I really do. What was that Mercedes front wing? I think it was it a Japanese what do you call it, tradition? What do you call it, thing? I don't know. What was it, the front wing style? I don't know if you saw it. I don't know if you saw what Mercedes did against you on the front wing. Is it the style? Is it the
Was there something that happened this weekend?
No, I think it was the design of the front wing. I think he's talking about the design of the front wing.
This weekend, let me check.
I don't know if you saw it, but they did they did something to design like the front wing or something. That has some design to it.
Look, I wasn't aware that anything changed this weekend. Anything significantly changed. But if you're talking about it in general, in terms of like their aero integration and then managing like the high downforce and then the battery deployment, as we've talked about, of course that makes sense. But if it's something that happened this weekend, then I'm personally not sure myself. But
the design, my bad. I saw something regarding the design, so my apologies. I saw something regarding the design, so my apologies if I misunderstood what you were saying. But yeah, I don't know what happened. I didn't pay attention to that. I didn't really pay attention to the front wing of Mercedes, so I can't really tell you for sure what happened. So you're gonna have to enlighten me on this.
Yeah, first you're gonna also have to enlighten me on this because that would be a nice revelation if you know it, of course. But W ball knowledge for even seeing that out, yes. Because was there something new to the wing? Did they tweak the setup, the aero balance?
They added to the front wing, I think. Yeah. I'm not mistaken.
I don't know what did they do DAS again? I'm just kidding.
I don't know exactly. So, but anyways, I don't know. I don't really have much to say this race. It wasn't a great qualifying, to be honest with you. I don't think I don't think much changed, or not much happened. It's the same old. Kimi Antonelli looking for a second straight race win for the very first time, the youngest driver to do so. George Russell looking to return back to the top because of his last week. We don't know what happened exactly this week, but last week I think he had a bit of an issue with the mechanics during the qualifying. He had to go back to the garage and get that sorted, and then go back to qualify again for second. So he made it. He made it to P2 last time out. This time out, the same thing, P2. But Kimi Antonelli looks a lot faster. His car looks a lot faster. Do I think Kimi will win the race? I'll give my prediction today. But for the rest of the season, I'll say this right now: I don't think Kimi's winning the championship. I don't think he's winning the championship yet. I think it's still. I think inexperience will take over, and I think he will not. I don't think he will win it. But next week or next year, there's a good chance he can do it for sure. There's a good chance he can. We don't know what will happen next year, but I think there's a good chance next year it can definitely happen. I'm busy with work. I'll be done most of it soon, definitely before United play again. United play again in 2 weeks, mate. So you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, you got this, man. Light work. Just Bruno output. That's what you need.
Facts. It was something that they bought. They brought 2 closing faces to their wings, so like it closed a bit first, and it fully closed with changes given the front wing from 0.4 to 0.8 seconds. Did they make an what do you call addition, or did they upgrade the front wing?
So from what I just checked out, very swiftly checked out, so it's not 100% fact checked. Mercedes are set to bring upgrades over. I think it's at the. Let me check which race it is. Sorry, they're bringing upgrades. I think during the European summer, so Barcelona, Silverstone. Around that time, they're expected to debut new ultra light actuator system for these wings. Basically, in layman's terms, outside the technical fluff, what this will shift the car. This will basically cure their mid corner understeer and allow them to balance out their corner understeer. That's all that it's saying. It's not saying anything else.
The FIA approved it, apparently. So
that's interesting. Look, I'm not sure about it. I haven't seen much about it. So I've heard about it. So thank you for the mention, Tifosi. We'll 100% check and get back to you come next stream. Big up, Mr. Josh J. Legend.
Everyone check his channel, people. Mr. Josh J. Big up to you, my guy. Why is it considered illegal? I don't know.
Maybe I think. Are you referring to
the battery pack?
Are you referring to the engine compression? Because basically, before the season started, obviously we 18-1, 16-1. All cars have to have an engine compression that is 16-1 when the car is static. Most teams thought that meant when the car also comes out on track. So of course, Mercedes, when static at 16-1, they found a loophole that increases it to 3 to 5 tenths. I'm sure you know this already, but the reason it's considered legal is because other teams politically are like, how's that fair? And objectively, Mercedes didn't break a rule. They just reinterpreted it beyond the rules. And they found a loophole that gives them 3 to 5 extra tenths a lap maybe, and makes their energy deployment in a league of their own. That's why Ferrari are so far behind them. That is the core reason they're behind them. And all the other teams are using the excuse that it destroys parity. That is their legal self-defense. And Mercedes are like, the FIA worked hand in hand to approve each phase of our development. So why should we be stripped away from the ingenious invention that we created? So frankly, I'm with you, Boss of the Blue. I don't know why it is considered illegal. And of course, it's not like you and I are going to want Mercedes to win either. Right? Lewis Hamilton winning his 9th official title, 8th official, but 9th title. That's what we all strive for, right? That's all what we want. But the truth is, Formula One's about, again, equality of opportunity. And under those circumstances, Mercedes produced the most dominant car in recent history.
Sorry about that. Fair enough. Shall we get to predictions, I guess?
Hell yeah, I am ready when you are. I want to hear what the chat has to say about this weekend as well.
Let me just bring up some Formula One updates or anything in case we haven't. In case we have not. Oh, and Nico Hulkenberg got knocked out in Q2 as well. So did Liam Lawson, and so did Franco Colapinto and Carlos Sainz. And I don't know if you guys saw the changes they made to qualifying as well. I don't know if you saw some of the changes that they made to qualifying. I think they extended it to 13 seconds. The Q3. I didn't bring that up, but they extended Q3 to 13 minutes.
I mean, 13 seconds. I don't know what they're expecting there.
I meant 13 minutes. Sorry, not seconds.
No, I'm done.
Lack of sleep tonight.
No, hey, I'm just taking the piss. You didn't do anything. Like, you're right. I didn't even think about the change.
13 minutes of Q3, and they have 6 elimination spots now. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, basically, you're right. They obviously changed the elimination spots because they want, with 22 team drivers on the grid, two extra drivers with the one extra team in Cadillac. They still want a Q3 that is the top 10 shootout. So you need six out in Q1 and Q2 respectively. In terms of the qualifying change, the biggest change they made is the energy recharge cap. And because before in Melbourne and China, the drivers were forced like into super clipping. Basically, to have enough battery to push for each lap, they had to harvest a lot. So they could only charge, what was it, 9 modules, I think it was. Now they've lowered it to 8 modules, which means that they basically can extract more energy out of their qualifying laps and be overall much more faster. So they can push out more flat. That's the biggest change. They've basically made it easier for the drivers to manage their pace instead of handicap them to energy over pure pace ability.
The whole point to have guidelines is to invite inventors and developers to find solutions.
100%.
The
And
only problem is that they ain't found a solution yet.
no, the problem is we are penalizing Mercedes for an FIA issue. It's not Mercedes' fault that the FIA's rules were ambiguous. That's why rules have to be completely unambiguous. They have to be clear, obvious, and decisive. That's the problem with all of sports. The reason referees fail, of course, there is an element of incompetence. But mainly, even in football, even with VAR, it is because the rules are not black and white. They leave so much room for interpretation. Where one week one thing will be deemed a handball, the next week that thing will be deemed, oh, nothing, play on. That's the problem. There just needs to be some consistency and reliability. And with Mercedes, the reason that they're overthrowing or penalizing them for the engine compression gain, which will hurt them, by the way, in the long run, is commercial reasons, right? Cash is king. Commercial sponsors is key. And if Mercedes dominate this season, after the year we just had, the FIA and F1 and Liberty Media will lose inordinate revenue, right? The global appeal that has been trending upwards proportionately, even exponentially escalating upwards, you would think that that takes a hit if one team is winning by a foregone conclusion, not just one team. Nothing against Russell and Antonelli. Antonelli emerging to be a generational talent. Both of those drivers don't have the gravitas and the global grandeur that Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton have, or Ferrari have. So that, I think that's the problem. It's A, politics. They don't want to lose the favors of the rest of the grid who are butthurt, bitching, and complaining. And B, also the team that would be winning. One-way traffic, not good for ratings, not good for reach, certainly not good for revenue. And also those two are not a transcendent Lewis Hamilton.
If you're talking about Ferrari, Charles Leclerc, it was on Charles Leclerc, bro. He oversteered, and he missed the last, or he missed a few seconds. He missed a few seconds because he drove off the track slightly. So that's on him. That's more on him than the team today, to be honest with you. I think Lewis Hamilton needs to fix up this weekend. Last weekend he was doing fine. This weekend he has to step it up. Not even that for me. Ferrari, because they have been in the game since the started, they get paid back more than any other team. So it's worse because they have more resources with less delivery.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened, right? We know as a fact that even Red Bull that are technically tremendous, they tried to emulate the Mercedes loophole. But after they couldn't, that's when they went to the FIA. They didn't go to the FIA out of sanity. They didn't go to the FIA out of humanity. They weren't selflessly saving the grid. Everyone's operating in their self-interest, just like every country in the world. Even they are operating in their self-interest. So Red Bull went to rat on Mercedes because they're like, hey, they broke the rules. And of course Ferrari, because they couldn't even have the mind or manpower to even begin the blueprint. They're like, yeah, of course you got to overthrow it. So how far behind are Red Bull from Mercedes? That's a very good question, Boss of Blue. At the beginning of the season, you would have said they're the second best team before the season started. Now, comfortably fourth, and I think they are the best of the midfield. I don't think Red Bull are even in the category for first, second, third. They're the best of the midfield because they're getting beaten to Ollie Behrman alone, and also the midfield teams, even their sister team, Racing Bulls. We saw with Lindblad today. We've seen with Pierre Gasly and Alpine just look faster than them. Red Bull, given the new power unit as well, given the lack of grip, just every part of that Red Bull car, if you hear Max Verstappen, is just out of sync, out of sorts. They are a world bit behind Mercedes. If they are to if they could even win a couple races come the mid part of the year, I would be stunned. But then again, they have Mad Max Fury, so we'll see. Who knows?
How far are Red Bull? How far behind Mercedes? Very far, very far. It's not even close this year. it's like Mercedes are completely like destroyed. It's like, you know, they're the sixth best team on the grid this season. It's like, you know, in the top four in the Premier League, they're far from that. They're far from that. You know, they're way far from that, bro. The top four so far this season, right? Racing Bulls is doing better than Red Bull so far this season. Racing Bulls is doing a lot better than Red Bull this season so far. Arvid Lindblad has absolutely done bits this season.
He's got the dog in him, man. He's got the dog in the genes.
So he's doing well. So the top four is obviously Mercedes, then Ferrari, then McLaren. Then you add Racing Bulls, and then maybe a Red Bull or Williams. Have Williams gone to the points this season? They have, right? Williams definitely finishing the points this season, right?
No. At the moment, the bottom three, just like the top three, are in a league of their own. Cadillac obviously lost. Cadillac and Aston Martin, because Aston Martin sometimes they can't even get on track. Williams are comfortably the third worst team at the moment. They don't have the pace. They don't have the reliability. Alex Albon, if you heard what he said at the end of Q1, he was effectively, the team tried to throw him under the bus. He threw the team under the bus. So at the moment, Alex Albon is like out of sorts at Williams. Carlos Sainz, despite the smooth operating magic.
Yeah. We're doing predictions in a few minutes. Sorry guys, I'm going to say this. We're doing predictions in just 1 minute, so stay for predictions. We're going to wrap up anyways.
Yeah, I got to go as well soon, so don't worry, Kosi.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Sorry, continue what you're saying, bro.
Exactly, so, and Boston Blue to this point, exactly. So if you don't believe Behrman's all of that, the fact that he is beating the Red Bull on his own, on pure pace, not incident-wise, that is telling you something. It tells you something, yeah.
That, and also, sorry, don't forget, Haas as well. Haas as well are this season are doing much better than Red Bull. You just mentioned it.
Yeah.
That's the top five for you, and then Red Bull just right outside it. Sixth. They're the sixth best team this season. I just named you 5 teams better than Red Bull this season so far. Racing Bulls is doing a lot better than Red Bull. You know what I mean? That's funny. The sister car. Listen. But anyways, we'll get to predictions now anyway. So suppose you can stay for that. But anyways,
of course, we're not holding you hostage. Don't worry. We're just saying we're also wrapping up the stream.
Behrman's a good driver, bro. He's a good driver. He'll be in that Ferrari seat very, very soon. I hope so, at least. All right, then. Predictions. Top 3. Kimi, Russell, Charles.
No climax to it? I agree.
Outsider, Oscar Piastri.
If you can count a P3 as the Oscar outsider, then yeah, he is the outsider, Oscar Piastri. But it would be a miracle if he can race. 2 races in a row, he hasn't been on the track at all. So we'll see. Oscar Piastri, I think him getting out on the track will be fun in itself. Will be fulfilling for him already. But yeah, Antonelli is just more confident he'll beat George Russell. I think Leclerc will finish 3rd. Ferrari do have probably more pace than McLaren, but it's like neck and neck. And also that race start, you expect Charles to jump up to 2nd or 1st. Even Lewis Hamilton as well will make some places, but we'll see. Come race circuit, Lewis Hamilton, that's the one I want to watch is Lewis Hamilton because he has a car in race starts that is fast. This season he's been in a rich vein of form. This week he has been dysregulated. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. But my top 3 is Antonelli, Russell, Leclerc, Piastri.
So we both agree then?
Yeah. But I hope somebody in the chat is contrarian to us.
There you go, GK. Predictions are done. What about Alonso? Man.
Yeah, we'll see which club he goes to next. Xabi Alonso, right? That's what you mean?
Yeah, man. Xabi Alonso. Bro, Alonso's been driving since Xabi Alonso was playing. He's not retired. He's
driving. Dude, before half the grid was even born, man. He's been in the grid for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been. Yeah. Russell
wow.
Leclerc.
Obviously, no love for Antonelli here.
I would love that. Honestly, top 3 finisher for Ferrari. Both drivers in the podium. But we'll see, man. We'll see. But yeah, I guess that concludes the show. We're gonna be back tomorrow for the race review, so stay tuned to that. The last show before the final month. We still got Formula 1 content. We still got on race weekends. We are still gonna do shows. like just on that race weekend, instead of doing race previews and race reviews, we're going to do a one show weekend. So one weekend we're going to do a show of during the Bahrain Grand Prix weekend, and we'll do the what's it called again, fucking hell, I'm not sure again. Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, excuse me, Saudi Arabia. So we'll do one per week. We'll do one per week. So we're back live tomorrow afternoon. Charles P1, Kimmy P2, Russell P3, Lando P4.
I love that.
I would love to drink your delusional drink that helps me with delusion, but listen, that's not gonna happen.
That's not too delusional. Not
well,
too delusional.
Charles P1, I don't see it. I said Charles P2 as possible because of the pace he had, but then again, it's race.
No, yeah, I agree.
It's qualifying. Different.
No, I think Mercedes will be 1 and 2, but if for some reason overtaking gets tough again, if he makes it from the start, you never know. But yeah, I think Mercedes 1 and 2, Kimi, Russell 1 and 2, Charles 3, Piastri 4, Hamilton, Norris 5 and 6. And watch out for Behrman and Verstappen and Gasly.
Verstappen will finish top 10 easily.
Should.
He's 11th. He'll easily finish top 10. Come on, like what are we doing here? I think he'll finish 7th, bro.
Yeah.
I think he'll climb to 7th. I don't think he'll finish above that. I think Arvid Lindblad will finish.
So Norris and him will be 6-7.
Arvid Lindblad will be ahead of him.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm going with the bold prediction. I'm going to go Arvid Lindblad ahead of him, and I think Verstappen will finish behind him. I think Lindblad will be 7th, Verstappen 8th, and then I think it'll be Norris and Hamilton battling out for 5th and 6th. That's what I think will happen. But yeah, man, that's been a good show. See you guys tomorrow. We're getting ever so closer to 600 subscribers, guys. We are 1 sub to 575. Just get me 1 sub for today. We'll do 1 sub to 575, and we'll do for today. For tomorrow, we're trying to get to 600 subscribers. Hit the like button. Turn your notification bell so you don't miss upload, you don't miss a live, and you don't miss video and all the posts and etc. And stay tuned for all the scheduled show this next week and all the good stuff. But guys, it's been a really good weekend of sports. Still without Premier League weekend. Formula 1 is here. NBA is here. We still got other sports to talk about. So Augusti, and make sure you guys check out the All Out Sports Talk me and Augusti did last night. It was a really good show. And Augusti, last thoughts before we go? Any last thoughts? Any final things you want to say before we close out?
Last Formula 1 race for a month and a half. It will be a interesting month and a half. Just enjoy it.
Yeah, man. Take care, people. See you guys tomorrow for the race review. Straight after the race, we're going to go live. So stay tuned to that, people. No hesitations whatsoever. But yeah, cool. Been nothing today. Take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your evening or day, wherever you are. And yeah, take care. Forza Ferrari. Peace.